الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Let the Quran Speak. My name is Sophia, I'm your host. Statistics show that religious households in the U.S. give substantially more of their income in charity than non-religious families. We'll be looking at why that is so. Is there some sort of philosophical underpinning for giving? And is there some other reason for non-religious individuals to give? Is there some other motivation or incentive? More on that later in the show. Also, domestic violence. We've been hearing a lot about domestic violence recently in the media. Most recently, we've heard about the Shafia family in Kingston. The trial is still undergoing for them, so we don't know the outcome of that case yet. But domestic violence is not limited to Muslim communities or Muslim families. We also know that 1 in 3 American women have undergone domestic violence at the hands of their boyfriends or husbands. So why is domestic violence such a pervasive problem, and what can be done to overcome it? More on that later. With me is Brother Shabir Ali from the Islamic Information Center. Brother Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Before we get to the topics I've mentioned, we'll look at a verse from the Quran. It's kind of a long verse. It's from chapter 39. It's verse 23. So maybe you can tell us what the verse says to begin with.
Yes, in Arabic, the verse says, Allah أنزل أحسن الحديث كتابا متشابها مثاني تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم ثم تلين جلودهم وقلوبهم إلى ذكر الله ذلك هدى الله يهدي به من يشاء وما يضلل الله فما له من هاد. Allah is the one who reveals the best of speeches, a book that is consistent and repetitive.
Yes.
It is with this that the skins of those who fear God tremble, such that their skins and their hearts soften towards the remembrance of God. That is the guidance with which God guides those whom He wills. And if God leaves anyone to stray, there is no one who could guide such.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going on in this verse. It talks about the message itself, how God reveals it, and then it also talks about the response of the believers. So maybe we can talk first about the message itself.
Yes, the message I translated hesitatingly that the book is consistent and repetitive, but there are 2 words in Arabic there which Yusuf Ali in his translation has just translated simply as consistent, and he's given a footnote explaining why this is so. So one is the mathani, which means paired. And so that could refer to a sort of parallelism which I notice as I read the Quran. You find that something is mentioned in one place of the Quran, and then almost similar things are mentioned somewhere else. So I see this to be a pairing. The verses are similar, they are paired. But the other word is mutashabi, which means that they're similar. So again, we are in the same ballpark of idea that we have a similar similar types of verses saying almost similar things, but with some variations, and one has to pair them together, bring them together to see the consistent whole of the Quran's message.
So it's not talking about revelations over time as in the history of time, but it's talking about actually the Quran being revealed piece by piece.
That's right. The verse it uses the term nazala, which the Muslim commentators take to mean that the Quran is revealed a piece at a time over a long period, as opposed to being revealed all at once as a complete book.
So what would the purpose be to have these repetitive verses?
Well, if one goes through the Quran today, one reads, let's say, a particular section before going out to work for a day. Then tomorrow one reads a different section. Now, if the book was so arranged that one topic is dealt with and done with, then one would only get that message about that one topic once and will not come back to it maybe a year later if one says I'm going to read the entire Quran within 1 year. But if the message is such that familiar ideas are sprinkled throughout, then one picks up the Quran, one reads it today and gets a message, one reads it tomorrow, one reads a different section but gets basically the same message.
Okay.
Or many of the same repeated ideas running throughout the book continuously, at least those which are most important. So let's take the phrase Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I begin with the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful one. These names of God remind us of His beneficence and His mercy. And if these are repeated throughout, well, then that is a constant reminder, as opposed to saying it about God, saying it once, let it be done with, and then you forget about God for the rest of the message.
Then the verse continues by saying, those who listen to the message, their skins tremble, I think it says, right? And then it continues by saying their skins and their hearts soften.
True.
So
True.
Why is there a reference to that?
Well, the fear of God is an unpopular theme to address, and yet it is noted that in a famous Arab proverb, it says that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and this is also biblical. There is a certain room for a loving God and also for having a sort of awe of God. In the Acts of the Apostles in chapter 11 in the New Testament, it shows that Peter addressed the crowd and says that now he knows that God does not show favoritism, but He accepts from every nation those who fear Him and do what is right. So the fear of God does have a place in religion, the awe of God, knowing His majesty and not daring to disobey Him. Not because He'll punish us. It's not that kind of fear as though He's a monster, but it's the kind of fear as you know. I mean, different people respond in different ways. But
Yes.
but one kind of fear of God is to love God so much that you are just so worried about displeasing Him in any way, as you might worry about displeasing any person that you love so dearly. So that verse says that the believers respond such that at the message of God, their skins tremble. And that leads to the softening of both the skins and the hearts for the remembrance of God. Well, of course, this is all metaphorical, right? Because when we think about a person having a thick skin, we mean that things don't penetrate, right?
Yeah.
Here, if we think of somebody has a soft skin, so it's it's possible for the message of God to penetrate, to go through, and to reach into the heart of the person, which is thought of here as the receptacle of divine revelation.
Thank you for that, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
We take a break. When we return, religion and giving.